Joe Biden is not my president. He is definitely not mine. And I'm pretty sure he's not yours. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 875,209. TikTok, next block. We got a lot of things to talk about today. I'm a little nervous, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very uneasy. I'm finding myself last 36 to 48 hours been worrying, and I normally don't. I don't worry. I did worry a little bit up to the point of the election, but you can't control what you can't control. Anyways, Bitcoin is on a tear again. Another all-time high, 108,200. That scares me too, guys, to be honest with you. You know, I'm gonna use this video like my diary or something, and tell me in the comment section below if you guys are feeling me on this. I'm nervous about the price for a few reasons. The first reason is, the number one reason is, I get nervous about my Bitcoin sometimes, and maybe sometimes my safety quiet is kept. I think I'm that's the underlying thing I'm worried about, because once you get over 1 million Satoshis, and I talk about that on my Satoshi Saturday, that's a lot of wealth. It just is. You guys may not realize that or understand that, but with these companies, countries, and everybody else gobbling it up, and the race, the arm race that's going to be for Bitcoin here in the future, and if you know, that's scary. That's probably my first thing. I'm scared about my, even if you got it in a multi-sig or something like that, somebody comes to your house or whatever, or somebody sees you out in the street or tries to do something to your family. I'm not really scared about me, just, I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying. And another thing I'm scared of, more of a probability of this happening, is I feel like I didn't stack hard enough, and I'm getting priced out, because everyone has a goal, and I have a goal too. The problem is the price is running up so fast. It's hard to get to that goal. And again, we're getting numb. And I think I said this before we hit 100 grand, that once we hit 100 grand, nobody's gonna really care about the all-time highs anymore, right? Nobody's gonna care about 105 or 108. Nobody's gonna care about 110 like they did in the 10 figures before 100,000, right? We cared about 60,000, 40,000, 70,000, 80,000, 30,000, 90,000, 20,000. We cared about that stuff. But now it's like that 10x thing, right? But now that we're at that 6-figure number, I don't think anybody's really going to care really until it maybe gets to 200,000. That'll be another one, because that's another big number getting flipped, but it's still not 6-figure. I think the one that people are really, really going to care about is 1 million. But until then, I think, 200,000, 300,000 to get some noise, but nothing like when we first broke that 100,000. You guys know what I'm saying? So, you're setting goals, and I got a little complacent, even though I was thinking I was buying like a madman. When I go back and look at those old videos that I made, when I react to them, and I see the prices that were back then, man, it just makes me feel like, man, Jerry, you didn't stack hard enough, bro. You know what I mean? Even though I stacked my ass off. But again, what would I do today at 108,000, 6,000, whatever, to go back to 43,000? What would I give up? What would I sell to get Bitcoin at that price, right? But again, it's all relative, because 106,000, whatever we're at right now, 106,700, is going to be nothing compared to 643,000. So the Jerry in the future, and maybe mid to late next year at 600 something thousand, who knows the way this thing is ripping. What am I going to say to this Jerry at 106,000. You're not stacking hard enough. So either way, it's all relative, and I know it's something I can't control. So another thing that I'm afraid of about the price is people are going to jump into Bitcoin without fully understanding what Bitcoin is. They're just going to jump in for the number go up. And by the way, before I forget, I want to mention this. Jor from 88 Sats Radio, he made an excellent video today. I'm going to leave it in the description box. Now, if I forget, tell me I forgot it, because I sometimes I do that. But he made a video, and I don't want to spoil it, but he broke down exactly how much people, companies, countries, or whatever, who owns the Bitcoin, where it's going to come from in the future, who's going to have it in the future. And it was a really, really good video. I mean, I told him that today is one of his best. So if you want to know where all the Bitcoin's at and where it's going and who's going to buy and where it's coming from, check that video out, seriously. But I'm just afraid people are going to get into this thing for the number go up. And once we get a little bit volatile or something like that, they're going to, get out and get wrecked and lose some money and stuff like that. Because we're kind of psychopaths and savages. You guys know that. And when you say the words study, or the word study with any other word, people don't like that. It makes them think about school and stuff like that. And I got to keep that in mind. I do, because I always say that. Study Bitcoin. You got to read the books and read the books or eat the bugs, or you got to put the work in and stuff like that. But most people don't want to put the work in. They just don't. They don't want to watch videos. They don't want to watch documentaries. They don't want to study and listen and watch podcasts. They just don't want to do it. And that's the proof of work that Bitcoin is so famous for, And if you don't put that work in, then you're going to get wrecked. Most people do. I got wrecked in the beginning. How did I get wrecked? When I first got in, the first couple weeks, I was studying. I was, but I still was into the gold and silver thing. So I was coming from a perspective of gold and silver is the real money, and this Bitcoin crypto thing is just something on the side so I can get some more gold and silver. And so I sold twice in the beginning because I quote unquote thought I was up because Bitcoin went up, and I sold it when at the same time silver went down. It wasn't much. I sold a little bit off of my Bitcoin, took the cash, and then bought some more silver with it, thinking, oh man, I got over. I did that twice. What happened a year and a half, 2 years later? I ended up selling all my silver and gold and all that stuff I had and traded it in for Bitcoin anyways at a higher price. Now I look back at it when it was at 15, 16, 17,000, and I had a lot of gold and silver then, man. If I would have sold my gold and silver and bought Bitcoin at that time, it didn't have to be exactly at the bottom, but I remember thinking about that. I thought about that for a second, but I wasn't fully, I didn't put enough work in yet. I was not ready. I was in the oven. But the fork wasn't in me yet. I wasn't cooked yet. And again, you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. And I didn't deserve it because I could have turned in some of that stuff or all of it and got a lot more Bitcoin than I got now that I'm scraping the barrel to get now. So that's a couple of things that I'm scared of. A lot of things going on. Okay, Trump. Let's talk about Trump real quick. Trump is, I was watching Patrick Bet-David's podcast today. They got a really good podcast, man. That's a good group of guys. Adam is, he's kind of, but I love Patrick. I love Tom and Vinny. Adam's okay. He's just kind of a lefty. But they broke some stuff down. And one of the topics that they talked about was, the drones, and they talked about, Trump's body language when they were talking about the drones and everything else. And it was basically kind of on a higher level, continuing on what I was talking about yesterday. If you didn't watch my video yesterday, check that out. And I noticed this too. Patrick Bet-David said, watch this video of Trump, because Trump was doing the press conference of them asking him the questions about the drones. And he made a really good analogy. So the person asked him about the drones, and you could tell Trump's body language was just like, you know, because he can't say what he knows, because obviously Trump knows more than what he's letting on. I'm not saying he knows everything, but he's the president-elect that's getting ready to get the job. So, and he's got a lot of people around him, but he can't come out and say it, right? But Patrick Bet-David basically said, it's almost like, because he says he does a lot of business, he said it was like when you buy a company or do an acquisition of a company, you're waiting on the paperwork to clear, whether it's 90 days, 6 months or whatever. And that whole time you're thinking, oh man, is the paperwork going to go through? Did the lawyers do this and that? Did they dot the I's and cross the T's and all this other stuff? He goes, that's the body language that I'm getting from Trump. I.e., it is December 17th today, and January 20th is a long way away, if you get my drift, right? And he's not sworn in yet. He is not the president. I predicted, and I was wrong on my prediction, that I thought there wouldn't be an election on November 5th, 2024. Why did I predict that? Well, you got to look at patterns, right? We know what happened in 2020, which I can't mention because I'll get in trouble for that. I have gotten in trouble for that because I've said it. We know what happened with the media ever since the summer of 2015, where they just completely attacked him, going on 9.5 years now. And then when we know what they really did to him once he said he wanted to be president again, when he was running, what'd they do? Well, he did a lot of court cases, got 34 felonies, he got shot at, he got sued for almost $500 million, almost had another attempt on his life at the golf course, and a lot of other things that we don't even know about. Just no one has been attacked like this man. And why is that? Is this just a coincidence? Again, I don't put a zero. I don't play the zero-sum game where it's all or nothing. I do put percentages on stuff. Could it be a coincidence? Yeah, it could be. What percentage do I give it? 0.00000 infinity 1. That's the percentage I put on that. Now, what percentage do I put on all these things not being a coincidence? 99.99999. Now, once you break that down, say, okay, well, who's doing this to him, right? When Trump gets into office, ladies and gentlemen, see, I got to be careful what I say here. If he gets in office, you got to look at things from the enemy's point of view, right? That's what I try to do. So the reason why I said there wasn't going to be an election, because of all those things they did to him, and me playing a probability game that it's not a coincidence. So if it wasn't a coincidence, and they were doing that to sabotage him, and they threw everything and the kitchen sink at him, you got to ask yourself why. Why'd they do it? Well, for obvious reasons, they don't want him to win. Why they don't want him to win? Well, probably can't get into that on YouTube. But let's just say I believe a lot of people are going to be getting exposed, in trouble, and maybe doing some time. And the gravy train and the power train will be turned off and stopped. That's what I believe. So if you're these people, what are you going to do? So I believe they try to do what they could. A lot of things going on with storms, and Kamala Harris got a lot of votes. Right? Oh boy, speech was free. And so all that stuff happened, and I'm like, I don't see them having an election. But they did. They did. Because all my left-wing friends, all my people that are Trump deranged and love Democrats and loved Kamala for a few months, they all thought she was going to win by a landslide. Why would you think this woman would win by a landslide if you have any kind of common sense? It's because the mainstream media, the propaganda. My God. And the apparatus made people believe that. The weak-minded people that were 100% wrong. And by the way, on a side note, another conspiracy theory, a quote-unquote right-wing conspiracy theory, aka the truth, aka the delayed truth after a few months, maybe a year, that unfortunately some people died, I think, in Colorado. They found out some gang members tortured some people and stuff like that. Remember the mayor and the media told us that was a lie and that was exaggerated and it's not really this and not really that and all this other stuff. Remember that? Well, come to find out it was true. What kind of evil people, first of all, are so hell-bent on keeping a man, or not letting a man get into office to let innocent people die, millions of people cross illegally, crime out of control, inflation? That's just evilness to me. But anyways, back to why he didn't, why I thought there wasn't going to be an election, because all those things I said, and plus they just can't let go of their power and they can't let him win. So I thought it wasn't going to happen, but then it did, and he won. Well, he's officially the president-elect, but does he have the power yet? And that is the main point. He does not have power yet, right? Now, he's acting like the president. He's doing things probably more than any president-elect I've ever seen. People are kissing the ring and everything. And speaking of that, before I forget, Justin Trudeau, by the time you watch this video, maybe he might be resigning. I guess a couple of people in his finance cabinet or something like that. I don't know how Canadian politics work. I'm not even gonna pretend like I do. They resigned because Trump, the strong leader, basically said, hey, because Justin Trudeau is basically saying, he needs subsidies from America and he needs this from America and that, this, that, and the third. Well, Trump said, well, look, we're gonna charge you a 25% tariff. And of course, Justin Trudeau, I cannot stand that guy. I don't know who's worse, him or Biden. At least Biden is old and he wasn't really running things. Trudeau is just completely evil, in my personal opinion, from an outsider looking in. And he flew down there, bent the knee, kissed the ring, and then turned right around and tried to diss Trump and everything else. Because, again, people are sick and tired of this left-wing lunacy. And I guess and Jor, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll talk about it later, but I guess some budget reports were coming out or something like that, and the financier quit, then somebody underneath them that took their job quit. And a lot of the rumors are saying a lot of people are calling for Justin Trudeau's resignation. And again, we're winning, right? We are winning. If he resigns, then we already know that, what's my boy's name? Jor Polivier or whatever. I like that guy. The guy that eats the apple. Now, I don't know enough about him. I just watch his clips. He seems pretty cool. He may not be perfect, but he's obviously better than Justin Trudeau. The French name, who's nothing like his father. Depends on who his father is, I guess, if you believe the rumors. But they're saying he's going to resign. And that's because of Trump, right? So Trump is doing some things out here, up to the point of he's going to be, before he's the president, but he's not the president yet. And again, we have a lot of things to worry about. And if you're the enemy, right, the people that we think that are behind all this stuff, what's the number one thing that you're worried about with Trump being in office? Because there's a lot to worry about. Are you worried about Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk, who's working for free, by the way, so is Vivek Ramaswamy, and a bunch of other really, really smart people that are going to be working for free? Are you worried about that? Because again, that's when the gravy train stops. They are going to cut so much fat out of the meat. Are you afraid of Kash Patel, who's going to absolutely destroy the three-letter agencies? And not only that, call them out. And let's just say there are going to be a lot of subpoenas going on. You afraid of that? Are you afraid of Donald Trump getting and starting a Bitcoin strategic reserve through at first the executive order and then maybe through Cynthia Lummis's bill? There's a lot of things for them to be afraid of, right? I mean, just think of it from their point of view. So what are they doing? Well, these drones are coming out. Because again, we always talk about black swan events. This is another thing I'm scared of. I'm like, man, am I ready if something happens, if the power goes out? Because that's something you have to seriously think about, guys. We are living on a timeline that is, they're going to look back at this in 100 years and say, this Trump guy made the media, the apparatus, and everybody outside of his circle crazy. He just did, right? And I think about that. Am I ready? if something really happens. Because I love Bitcoin and everything else, but if the power goes out, not saying we're going to lose our Bitcoin. I shouldn't even said those two in the same sentence. We have a lot more things to worry about than our cold storage, Bitcoin on cold storage. We got to survive and everything else. And what percentage do you put on that? You know, what percentage do you think that's going to happen? Do you put it 0? No, of course not. Not with Trump in office and them trying to keep him out and everything they've done. They tried the election. He didn't win because, again, election interference. They thought, oh, some Republicans will stay home because he was supposed to win or lose Iowa. Remember that? There was another report saying he was supposed to lose Florida. Remember that? Florida and Iowa? Really? Then the lady that said he was supposed to lose Iowa mysteriously retired all of a sudden. The best pollster in the world, in the country. She just retired. I wonder if somebody paid her. Just saying, guys. Just saying. I didn't say she was getting paid, YouTube. But with Trump, he brings a whole new nasty to politics. He just does. He's not a normal guy, and they can't stand him for it. And the people that are brainwashed by him and got the TDS and all that, there's no helping those people, right? There are people that are waking up, the common sense people, who just want moderate, policies and just want to live their life. And was it moderate Democrat or a moderate Republican or whatever? Reasonable people like Joe Rogan, because you notice he didn't promote Donald Trump to the day before the election on November 4th, 2024. Remember that? So if you're these people, you're going to do anything they can to keep them out. So again, the Psy-Op maybe of the drones, I don't know if it's a Psy-Op or not, but there are drones out there, and Trump said it best. He goes, look, and I'm just saying what Trump said, YouTube. He said they know where the drones come out from, if they come out from a garage or wherever, and they know where they're going and they know where they're landing. Why are they not shooting them out the air? Why? You know what I mean? Is it because they're looking for something, some kind of weapon with millions and millions of illegals coming across our country with impunity? Ooh, I just felt a rant coming on. Let me calm down. That pisses me off, okay? Right? Who knows what came across this border? Who knows if we got the next quote-unquote Osama bin Laden, which we all know the WMD was a bunch of... All right? If you know, you know. So, you got this stuff with these drones going on, and somebody's going to have to come out and talk about it. But now they'll tell you don't believe your lying eyes. You know what I mean? It wasn't really drones, it's planes and this and that and third. Again, Republicans are saying this too, the rhinos, swamp creatures. The other half of the uniparty, I call them. So is it something to keep him out? These drones? I put a high probability on that. You know? High probability. And the mainstream media is reporting it too. That these drones are out. Just like the aliens in Las Vegas. I don't know, man. I'm just nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. But I know that the left is not tolerant. I know that. I'm going to switch subjects real quick. I don't want to get stuck on that because I don't have a lot of information on that now. But as it comes in, I'll give you some more information. But now I'm hearing rumors of some high-level idiot Democrats, the ones with Trump derangement syndrome. What's that one, the little... I was going to call him a derogatory name. The beta male with the blonde hair, the real far leftist, he's got a show. I didn't hear David Pakman say this. Roland Martin's mad at Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is an NPC. Okay, he's a non-playable character, and he's a Democrat shill, and he tries to act smarter than what he is, and he talks out of his wheelhouse. He's a guy that talks about sports, and he's on political news shows for some fucking reason. I have no idea why, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just goes along to get along. And every time he says something that makes sense, that goes against the lefties, the black bourgeoisie, the black mob, the black race hustlers come at him and pull his black race card. I don't give a shit about none of that stuff, man. Nobody can tell me, I don't care what color you are, because a lot of black people will tell you, that are Democrats and stuff that are stuck on the black Democrat plantation, because that's what it is, a plantation. They scare you with, you're an Uncle Tom. They scare you with, oh, you're not for the black people. You're not a real brother. You're a sellout. This, that, and I don't give a fuck what you call me. I know I'm black. Check my DNA. Give a shit what you say about me. But Stephen A. Smith does. And that's why I say he's weak. He makes millions of dollars. And he's the biggest fence-riding, flip-flopping mother I've ever seen, okay? He came out and actually made sense the other day. And now is everybody asking, because if you make sense, or if you say anything that, one little thing outside the Democrat propaganda, they'll consider you a Republican or a right-wing conspiracist. So he made a video about it, and Roly-Poly Martin went off on him about it. Because again, you got to stick to the script, Stephen A. You can't jump off the plantation and think for yourself and be an individual and be an independent. Get your black ass back on the plantation. N-word. I was about to say it. Let's see what happens. He always bends the knee. He always says something good, and then he turns right back around and bends the knee. Anyways, the intolerable left now, that blonde-haired little soy boy, he said that he's going to go all-out war with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, again, who reluctantly went with Donald Trump. But again, Joe Rogan is an open-minded person. Remember, he's a Bernie Sanders guy. He is not an establishment person. Neither is Joe Biden. I mean, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a socialist, obviously. I don't really like him. But he is anti-establishment. But again, the Democratic Party did him wrong in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. You know all about that. Remember that? Well, Joe Rogan got the biggest podcast in the world, and instead of the left-wingers attacking him for everything he did since 2020, because what they attack him for, remember that? Call him a conspiracy theorist, and this, that, and the third, because again, he didn't walk in lockstep march with these people, or march in lockstep with these people. And again, if you can agree with them 99% of everything, you disagree with them once, you're out. And who the fuck is gonna do that? You gotta be a complete follower, weak-minded, and an idiot to do that. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people like that. Very weak-minded, man. They just go with, no matter what the real story is, if the people above them that they trust and love say it's true, forget what's really true. That's what's true, what they tell you. And it's crazy, man. So now they're attacking Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said it. They said, oh, we need to, this is what the lefties say. Oh, we need to find a Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan said, you had a Joe Rogan. I was on your side, you idiots. So was Elon Musk. These people are so stupid, but good. Let them keep doing it. They're never going to win again. Never. They can't. Unless they completely 100% change. But the problem is they never take responsibility. That's like kryptonite for these people. They'll never take responsibility for what they do. This is why I compare Trump to Bitcoin, kind of. I know Trump is an infallible human being, and he lies and he makes mistakes, but for the most part, a lot of things that people, quote unquote, found to be right-wing conspiracies and lies and stuff like that, who are Trump supporters, the things that are about Trump, because a lot of these stories and made-up things are about Trump, the FUD. Same thing with Bitcoin. The mainstream media hates Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is the new Trump right now. You guys know that. But before Bitcoin was Trump, Trump was Trump. And they lied. Remember the Russia, and the both sides are good thing, and all the things they lie about and chop and screw his stuff and saying that he raped this girl, and just, I'd be here all day naming and listening to stuff they lied about him. Same thing with Bitcoin. All the lies and the FUD and the stuff like that. Well, the truth always wins. Again, I'm not saying Trump doesn't lie. Okay, of course he lies. I'm not talking about the man. I'm talking about the lies about him. That's what I'm talking about. Every man lies. I lie. Everybody lies. You lie. We all lie, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the lies they tell about this man, just like the lies they told about Bitcoin. But what happened when Trump won the election? What happened when Trump, does certain things, especially when he won the election? People started bending the knee, kissing his ring, and saying what? They're like, man, this guy ain't too bad. You know, once you take your biased goggles off and get out of your echo chamber. I have friends and family who thought Bitcoin was a Ponzi scheme, who thought Bitcoin was just like every other cryptocurrency. Now it's at 100,000, and I was telling them at 20 to buy it. Now all of a sudden it's, maybe this thing is real. BlackRock buys it. Oh my goodness. Donald Trump decides to buy it. Talks about buying it. All these legitimate people start to buy it, want to buy it. Now all of a sudden the truth is that Bitcoin's good and Trump is good. The parallels between these two is crazy, especially when you cover this stuff a lot like I do, and you know, digest this stuff like we do. Again, Trump being orange, Bitcoin being orange, and yeah. So it's getting late. Let me know what you guys think. Excuse me, in the comment section below, and let me know if you guys are ready. If you're scared about what's going on with these drones, if you're scared if there's going to be some kind of black swan event that's not even a higher level or a higher level than the drones, or if the drone's going to cause it. But it's scary when you know you have weak leadership or no leadership at all. Again, who's running our country? Do you think for 1 second that Trump would have let that balloon back in whatever it is, 2022, 2023, fly across the whole country with impunity, then shoot it down in North Carolina, and then have drones all over the East Coast flying over not only our regular airports that they can't fly, the airplanes, but also on our military bases, Air Force bases, where they just don't shoot them down? Can you imagine? I don't care for what the reason is. When you have to stop the Air Force planes and shut it down for a few hours because of some drones that you're not telling the public, that's not good, guys. That's not good. So if this stuff scares you, it does. All this stuff started with me, and this is another reason I talked about this one episode. I used to be in the Navy, and there was a flight called TWA Flight 800 that went down in the summer of '96. I was on a ship, a salvage ship, and I was just coming back. The crew was coming back from a 6-month Mediterranean cruise. Long story short, there were some people that were saying some things about how this plane went down, and let's just say it wasn't the story that they said it was. And a few decades later, come to find out, a little different, you know. And that's when things, you know, started clicking for me. And then 2001 happened, 5.5 years later, almost 5 3/4 years later. And I just don't believe a lot of stuff. And now all this stuff with the scamdemic and everything else, it's just very hard not to be nervous. But there is one thing I do believe in that I know is not a conspiracy theory. Right? It's the best money in the world. And if you don't get your hands on some of this now, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay a lot more for it later. You just are, okay? I'm not going to say you can't buy any. It's not going to, or trade your fiat for it. I'm not saying that. You can. You're just going to pay a whole lot more. When I first started studying it, October, November of 2020, I did what's called analysis paralysis, where I was just kept looking at it and, no, I can't buy this and blah, blah, blah. And then what happened? The price ran up on me. And I could have even bought more. So again, we're at 106,000 of this incredible asset, the best asset that's ever been made, the best money that's ever been made. And you're not too late. You can get 900 and something Satoshis for $1 today. $1. There'll be a day that will be at 1 sat for 1 penny one day. Right now, you can get 900 and something of them for $1 or 100 pennies. I think that's a hell of a trade, the trade of a lifetime. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please watch my old videos and everything else. But for you guys in the back that are not paying attention, that don't have any, that are on zero, here's a little hint. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. And that's Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.